Trace, you worked on drilling rigs for almost 6 years out in the Gulf. When you first heard about this disaster, what went through your mind?
Well, my first reaction, of course, was just sympathy and empathy for the men that lost their lives and their families. That was one of the first things I learned when I went to work offshore. I worked in the oil field for 10 years. I worked in the Gulf of Mexico for 6 of those years on drilling rigs. And
as you know, obviously, a lot of folks here in Louisiana are concerned about President Obama's moratorium on deep water drilling. Do you support it, or do you think it's a bad idea?
I think it's a terrible idea. That's like kicking a man when he's down. That is the most idiotic, juvenile overreaction. It's an uninformed decision is what it is. It's just ridiculous. Don't get me started on that. I don't know how many tens of thousands of wells have been drilled in the Gulf of Mexico since we've been doing it, but how many times have you heard about this happening? I think that's a pretty good track record. And to punish American companies for something that a British company did, and that's another thing too, this moratorium is not going to stop anybody else. It's not going to stop British companies. It's not going to stop anybody else. It's going to hurt American companies. Those are the ones that are going to be forced to stop working.
This is not just a Gulf Coast problem. This is a national problem.
I think it's not a good idea. I think because it affects a lot of jobs, especially mine. That's what I'm more important. I'm thinking about my own job.
When they instituted this moratorium, they had no idea. It's like me trying to tell this policeman here how to do his job.
Moratorium is definitely not something that the people of Louisiana and our industry are supporting for sure, because there's so many people affected.
All we need is to say, people, go to work, and we've got it made. But they're just stopping us. They're stopping the country right now.
There is no question that President Obama's entire administration has been badly damaged by the oil spill. So, is the president on the comeback trail after his speech this evening? Joining us now from Washington, Fox News analyst Charles Krauthammer. Well, is he in a comeback trail mode here, Charles?
No, he's not, because speech won't stop the spill. It won't stop the pollution of the beaches. I think he gave it a good shot. He looks sincere for most of it. He'll get a point or two for a day or two, and then the story will be the spill, and it'll be the spill cam and not his speech.
He looks sincere for most of it. When did the phony look?
Well, that's high praise coming from me.
When did the phony look appear?
Well, look, I thought he was workmanlike in the first part of the speech where he talked about what we're doing, and as you pointed out earlier in the show, it's a fiasco, the rescue, the cleanup. So, he's saying, I have this number of people, this number of feet of the boom. That's not extremely impressive. Where he did get sort of interested in his own speech was when he did that thing you just showed about the future. He said, if we could land on the man on the moon, so why not have this glorious green energy? That's the most tired trope we've ever heard. For months, we're speaking about Spain as a great example of a country investing in solar cells. Well, it's now about to go under economically. It's about to go bankrupt. It's had to shut down all of these government-sponsored, money-losing programs on solar cells. The reason is they are not economical if you compare them with oil or coal or natural gas or nuclear. They simply aren't even near. All you can do, as you say, is to throw trillions of dollars at it to subsidize them. But look, in a free enterprise economy, do you think if there's anybody who didn't have an idea that would invent or create or find renewable energy that would be comparable to oil or coal, he wouldn't be at it because he'd become a trillionaire?
Absolutely. But
right. So it isn't as if incentives don't exist out there.
The big boys, ExxonMobil and these people, They have no incentive to do that. They want to continue in their business and do what they do. But you're right, the MIT people, if they had something, they would bring it. Now, finally, and this is a very interesting question, we talked about the New York Times article, and you mentioned it, that said the cleanup right now is a fiasco. There's no coordination. But the President of the United States then goes on 12 hours after that article comes out and says it isn't a fiasco, we're doing fine, my administration has all the resources in place it should have. So the people at home are going, are we being lied to? And this disturbs me, this kind of, what do you think is the truth here?
I think it is a fiasco.
Which party currently controls Congress?
Currently, I don't know, actually.
The Republicans.
Republicans.
Republican.
Republicans
Yes.
control Congress?
Yes.
Probably Republican because the president's Republican. That's my honest answer.
I think it's Republicans are controlling it now, I believe.
What, the Republicans?
Which political party currently controls Congress?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Do you know who Barney Frank is?
No.
How about Nancy Pelosi?
No.
How about Harry Reid?
I've heard that name, but I don't know who that is.
What do you think of Barney Frank?
I have no idea who that is.
Nancy Pelosi?
She's pretty cool.
Harry Reid?
I don't know who that is.
What do you think of Barney Frank?
I don't know him.
I don't know who Barney Frank is.
What do you think of Harry Reid?
Don't really know Harry Reid.
I don't know Barney Frank.
What do you think of Nancy Pelosi?
I only know the name. I don't know the face.
What do you know about Harry Reid?
Nothing.
What do you think of Barney Frank?
Who?
Harry Reid.
Don't know that person.
What do you think of Harry Reid?
Who is Harry Reid?
Barney Frank. Don't know him.
What do you think of Barney Frank?
I never heard of that person. Who is he?
He's a congressman. How about
Okay.
Nancy Pelosi?
I never heard of her.
What do you think of her?
I think she's a fair lady.
Do you know if she's a Democrat or a Republican?
No, I can't say that. I don't know for sure.
How about Harry Reid?
Haven't heard of him.
And what do you think of Barney Frank?
I don't really know him.
How about Nancy Pelosi?
Don't know her either.
Harry Reid?
Don't know him either.
Which of those people wore clothes that their party spent $150,000 on?
Palin.
Which has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Palin again.
Which wore clothes that their political party spent $150,000 on?
Sarah Palin, I think.
Which of the four has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Palin.
Which wore clothes that their party spent $150,000 on?
Palin.
Which has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Palin.
Which has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Sarah Palin.
Which of the four candidates has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Palin.
Which wore clothes that their political party spent $150,000 on?
Sarah Palin.
Which has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Sarah Palin.
Which of the four has worn clothes that their political party has spent $150,000 on?
Palin, Sarah Palin.
Which has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Sarah Palin.
Which has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Sarah Palin.
Which of the four has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Palin.
Which of the four wore clothes that their party spent $150,000 on?
Palin.
Which of the four wore clothes that their party spent $150,000 on?
I know that was Palin. They made a big deal about that. But you gotta look pretty, right?
Which of the four has a pregnant teenage daughter?
That was Palin.
Which of the candidates has a pregnant teenage daughter?
Palin.
They're our next door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
And I can see Russia from my house.
Which said that they could see Russia from their home?
Oh, that would be Palin.
That woman, Sarah Palin.
Palin. Oh, Sarah Palin.
Palin.
Palin, Sarah Palin.
I can't think of her name right now.
Sarah Palin?
Sarah Palin, there we go.
Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin.
Palin.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go.
Which claimed to have campaigned in 57 states?
Sarah Palin? I don't know.
57 states? Probably Sarah Palin.
50. I have no idea. 57 states. I have no idea.
I don't know. Is that Palin? 57. I don't know. Sarah Palin.
57 states. That sounds like something Sarah Palin would say.
McCain.
I'd put that on Palin.
McCain.
Which won their first election by getting their three opponents from their own party kicked off the ballot?
I don't know. That sounds like something Sarah Palin would do, but I don't know.
Sarah Palin?
Oh my God. I don't know. Who?
Obama.
Are you serious? Wow.